Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another live edition of Mic'd Up Sports, the show that goes in depth with the people who build our sports community. We'd like to welcome all of you watching this Wednesday morning podcast live on Facebook. And if you're watching this on demand through our YouTube channel, we're glad you could join us there as well. We pay another virtual visit to Holy Angels with a trio of players from the girls basketball team. And as I like to do with group discussions, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves to our audience?
Hi, I'm Cassie.
Hey, I'm Grace.
Hey, I'm Frankie.
And our trio, a big part of the Holy Angels girls basketball team last year. It's a school that has made the state tournament every year since 2016, reached the semifinals in 2019. And I guess, Frankie, for you, you got to end with something of an exclamation point, a 40-point game in your last performance as a junior before everything blew up with the pandemic. But I want to start with this. How have you all handled this situation, going from the routine, the drills, and all of the triumphs and tribulations of the season, and now, here we all are idle, hoping we'll get a chance to play? I know it has to be difficult for all of you because we all would have been starting our basketball work right now with the tip-off tournament that you take part in at St. Thomas. So what have you done with all of the spare time?
Oh goodness. I have so much spare time, so I'm like watching a lot of TV shows. And then I've actually started I walk my dog now. Like usually my siblings walk my dog, but I walk my dog now. I have time to walk him. But in between, so I still do a lot of ball handling when I can, and then I will do a lot of ab workout, and then I'm doing a lot of sprinting and running.
For me, like Cassie said, like I've had like a lot of spare time, but I've like kind of like used it as a blessing and like worked on myself a little bit more. It was kind of sad that AAU didn't like it wasn't as long as I wanted it to be, but I've like used that time to like take time and like do individual like workouts with like my coach and stuff. So that's about it.
I think that the toughest part of all of it is just getting used to everything, like life being so different, and it's a pretty big jump to go from, preparing to play basketball at a set time and then having it pushed back and then not knowing when there's going to be like a final date set. But yeah, like both of them said, I've just had a ton of free time on my hands, and it's been nice to be able to put that time towards like other interests besides basketball. But yeah, still always like working.
Frankie, if you don't mind me asking, have you used any of that time to polish or refine that mid-range jumper of yours?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to lose my shooting ability from the mid-range, so if I didn't work on it, it would be quite bad.
Well, the reason I ask is because you got a feature in this year's Breakdown magazine about your mid-range game, and you spoke of how you've worked on it over the years and how the most challenging part of it is getting a split second of time if you're left open. So you've got to go quickly. It's not a shot we see a lot of now. Of course, you can hit threes too, as we've seen, but what did that mean for you? I don't know if you got a copy of it, but when you found out that you got a cover page of sorts.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like actually, because they had emailed me and reached out, and I had no idea where in like the book that was gonna be, and then seeing it like a whole page dedicated to that was super super cool. But honestly, mid-range shooting, it's not a skill that no one can do. It's something that like anyone, no matter what position you play, can pick up. And yeah, like I said, it really is about timing. That's everything. If you've got a good shot, as long as you can time it, then you'll be set shooting mid-range.
What did you think of having your profile photo blown up to a full page? What did you all think of Frankie's happy looking mug there?
She probably should have taken a better photo.
Thanks.
No, it's definitely, she's an inspiration, I would say. Like, it's just a lot, like you kind of how you said it was nowadays, you don't really look like, that's not the fancy thing, is it's your 3-pointer is your fancy. So to have her like bring that to practice, it teaches you as a defender to defend that. And if you want to like play basketball in college, you have to be able to defend that and you have to be able to shoot it. And so she's definitely like an inspiration every day to push myself personally, and she pushes her teammates. And so she just like has brought back that forgotten skill, I want to say.
I personally didn't order a book, but when I went over to like my friends, I did see like all the pages, and I did see like the page that Frankie had, and I thought it was really cool because most players like can only like shoot the 3 or like the layup or like make the layup, but there's not really as many people that can like pull up and shoot the mid-range. Like not many people are like taught to like go like do mid-range, so I feel like that was really cool, and the fact that it was my teammate, I felt like that was cool as well.
Well, Kassie and Grace, I know you certainly can make a few shots of your own, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that as this discussion moves along. But I'm curious, for the three of you, when did you start playing the sport? Do you remember your first memory that got you hooked on basketball?
I can't really like pinpoint a specific memory, but I just like remember when I was super young, probably like 3-4 years old, we had one of those little plastic hoops like in our basement, and my brother and I, we would just play in it like all day. And then that's what really got me interested. And then like I got into playing it really young, like in first, second grade, stuff like that. So it's always just been kind of like a part of my life.
Same as Frankie, I can't remember, but I do like one of my biggest basketball memories that probably it kept me playing. So after 3rd grade, I wanted to quit, but I got invited to play on the traveling team for a couple of games with Frankie. So it was a year older than me, and it was like Frankie, Rachel, and like Lexi was on the team, and that's probably like one of the main reasons I kept playing, because I wanted to play with them again. And I knew I would play with them in high school. And so I'm glad I decided to play with them in 3rd grade.
Same.
For me, I don't really remember what year. It was like late 4th grade year, like coming into 5th grade. My brother took me to Urban Ventures, and that was when like I joined my like first ever team. So I was like there with like, I don't even remember the coach's name. Like I didn't know how to shoot a free throw, and I asked him if like, do you jump on the free throw or not? So then I just like I didn't jump at all, and everyone was like looking at me. They're like, what is this girl doing? So the next time I like made it, and then like after he like talked to me after, and he said that he wanted me to be on the team. So I was like, oh sure, but I wasn't really good at all or anything. Like I was a bench warmer. Like I didn't even know what I was doing, but I took it seriously. Like I'd say like 7th grade, I took it really seriously because my brother really pushed me to, and yeah, I really like this sport. So yeah.
So it's safe to say, Grace, that you take this sport seriously now?
I really do. I really do.
And Frankie, the story you and Kassie shared, it reminded me of a conversation I had with your head coach. He and I've joked that we could talk for hours, and if there wasn't a limit on pregame windows and all of that, we probably could go on for weeks. But he recalled a story, I believe, from those traveling leagues where he said he remembered seeing you in compression shorts, Barbie sneakers.
Oh God.
And no, we were just talking about how much you've grown from that point, but you and Kassie have been part of the Holy Angels program for a long time. So how do you think your friendship has grown as your skills have grown with it?
I think that like especially with Kassie, like oh my gosh, no, we're like I love Kassie, and I think that having the background, because Holy Angels, that was like the very first their traveling team. That's the very first traveling team I ever played with, and just I think having a connection with most of the girls on the team that are on the team currently, because of the teams they played for in the past, it's super helpful when it comes to like team chemistry, and just having a good environment I think is very, very important, and that really helps with it. And I'm just lucky that like all my friendships with everyone have grown.
Yeah, definitely like what she said. And it's just, you can see it in practice too, like how close we are. So whenever I have to guard Frankie, I make animal noises at her to just like piss her off. Like I'll sit there and bark at her and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she gets so angry. And so it's so funny to
Okay.
do. And so it's just, you're able to do like these funny things with them because you know you aren't like gonna make them like too mad at you, without like damaging your relationship. And so I it's definitely brings a lot to the table, like having like these past relationships. And when it comes to like welcoming new players, like we all are one. And so it's like, oh, you get to join this, like this is our family, so welcome to our family.
Kassie, what are your favorite animal noises to make at Frankie during practice sessions?
Definitely like I bark at her. It's definitely the dog. So,
So the dog's your go-to. Have you tried any other animals?
um, I sometimes meow at her. Um, I have mooed at her like a cow, and so yeah.
And what happens? Does that get Frankie out of her zone, or how does that work out over the years?
She's starting to get better with the distraction. At first she definitely, I really thought she was gonna punch me in the face because like she looked at me dead in the eyes and like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, nothing. And so I had to develop our friendship more before I could continue with.
Well, the reason I asked Kassie is I understand you like to horseback ride in your spare time, so I thought you might have thrown a few horse neighs at her during a scrimmage.
No, I can't say I've done that one.
Not yet. Now, Grace, you didn't join the team until last season, and as I understand it, you hadn't played varsity until you got to Holy Angels. But I remember the first time I saw you, which was at last year's tip-off invitational at St. Thomas, and my broadcast partner Latoya, she was so impressed by you that I think she went up to you and was trying to figure out where in the world did you come from. And I know in my head I'm going, where did this kid come from? But you had played, as you mentioned, you were playing since seventh grade, so it wasn't like you were a complete newcomer to the sport. But to come in without any varsity experience and perform the way you did, what was that transition like for you, and how quickly did you adapt?
Well, I actually like talked to Latoya a little bit after the Maranatha game that we played in. She really seemed really nice, so she's really nice as a person. But the transitioning, I kind of like left Minnetonka, and my brother was working at Holy Angels. Like he was I don't know, he worked in like the some like summer in Holy Angels. So he was like recommending, he was like, "Grace, you can come to this school, like you should go back to a private school and everything." So I was like, okay, yeah. My mom agreed. We signed papers, met Joe Berg, and we didn't really meet Woods at the time, but yeah, so I was enrolled to the school. But when Woods first saw me, like he went up to me and then he was like, "Where did you come from?" And I was like, I came from Minnetonka. He was like, I can tell you're going to be something special." I was like, and that's like, I feel like that was like the point where like I felt like he put trust in me. And because like coming into the first year, like I didn't really like expect much. Like I wanted to be like the best player I could for the team, but I didn't really expect much because I was like a new person. and stuff, but I feel like Woods really put me in a great position to be like the person who he like knows I could be, and like just like prepare me for like the next level, I guess.
I'm sensing a theme of everyone asking, where did you come from? Your head coach, the rest of us. So, Grace, how do you do it?
No, come from everywhere apparently.
On a more serious note, though, do you remember the first practice you had with Holy Angels and how quickly you bonded with the team? Because everyone that I talked to spoke highly of you. I know Dan Wood certainly did. And after I saw you play for a few games, it felt like you've been playing alongside them for quite some time. But do you remember that first moment or that first time you got to meet the Holy Angels team and what that process was like?
Yeah, I don't really remember the first practice. It was like the first time I went on the court. Like Joe Berg was saying the varsity girls are we have like I think it was like open gym. Like he said that if you want like to meet the players before you went home, and I was like sure. So I like walked over there with like my mom and my sister and Joe Berg, and like he introduced me to everyone, and like I remember like Frankie like coming up to me be like, hey, like how are you? And I was like hey and everything. Like I didn't really know anyone. Like I heard of some people. Like I watched them like YouTube videos and stuff. But I just remember like Frankie coming up to me like asking me where I go, and like we kind of had that little bond and stuff because like she knew like a previous player that I played with in Atonka. So yeah, but I don't really remember like the first practice thing, but that was like the moment that like I felt like was really special to me because like we kind of had that, you know, that instant like click right there.
And all three of you, of course, have played a part in the Holy Angels' history of success when it comes to girls basketball, a run that started before you all joined varsity with that 2016 state championship. But I imagine you all followed that, and I don't know how much that served as an inspiration, but what do you think that run did to get you excited for the opportunity when you got a chance to wear the blue and gold of Holy Angels?
Mhm. Well, at first I was like, cause I heard Dan Woods, like not Dan. Ooh, I call him Dan Woods. I heard
He does
Woods,
have a name. I'm sure it's okay. I don't think he'll hold it against you.
yeah. So like I saw like everything like previously, and I like it said that they went to state every single year. So I was like, wow, like that's a nice team. So like when I first got to like step on the court, like I obviously like felt like nervous, like this state, like I felt really nervous, everything. But it was like a really cool experience because like I really did not like expect to like go to state like my first ever like year playing varsity. Like I never expected it. So I feel like it was really cool. And like I said, like my teammates and Woods put me in like a really good position. So I feel like this year, I mean last year, the previous like um season was like the year that like I felt like people like started noticing me, which like I said, like they put me in a really good position. So like I'm like thankful for that and all.
I think that the like having a team that just the year before went to state and won it all, and kind of like starting this and then continuing to go to state like every single year after that, it kind of just it motivates our team a lot more because it's something like, oh, all the teams we've been going to the tournament almost 5 years in a row. I think like most teams expect us to be there, so it puts a bit of pressure on us as well. But I think ultimately it's a good motivating factor, a good pushing factor to say, don't let yourself settle for any less than you've already achieved.
It definitely puts like a target on our backs though, because like we've been there 5 years in a row. And so like teams are like, we're the team to beat because like in our section coming out of that, it's you want to beat us because if you beat us, then you're guaranteed basically a trip to the state tournament because we're always there. But I remember, so my older sister graduated in 2015 and she took me to the championship game And I remember her turning to me and she was like, you got to do this. Like, you're going to go and you're going to win me a state championship because I never got to. And so she played back when they were still in the, I don't even remember what conference it was, but it was like the Chanhassen, Chaska, and like the big conferences.
The
Like
Minnesota, I believe.
Yes, no, Minnesota. And I just remember like going to a couple of their games and they got killed every game. And so it was when she graduated, they finally switched out of it, but they got beat by Richfield. And then the next year they went and they won state. And so she was like, you're going to do this for me. And so I feel like just having like the team chemistry going into it always helps us play, like be the best versions of ourselves every time we go to state.
Frankie, as you alluded to, you came in the following season after they won it all as a 5 seed. That's what really impressed me from that 2016 run. So on the coattails of Laura Bagwell-Katalinic and Destiny Oberg and all of the other players responsible for that championship, you are logging varsity minutes as an 8th grader. And I think, Kassie, you came in the following season. But Frankie, how excited and how nervous were you to find out you were going to get the opportunity to play as an 8th grader?
Oh yeah, that was I was very nervous, especially going into I never played at Williams Arena or anything before. And I definitely used to be a bit more introverted and shy, so that was a really big like experience for me to have. But going into it, it was a lot of nerves, I gotta be honest. But I wasn't expecting to play like a whole bunch, and I wouldn't say that I played a whole bunch, but still being able to play and get that exposure at in 8th grade, I think has been really beneficial for the rest of my high school career.
And Kassie, what about you? Of course, you have the family history and you knew Frankie and Rachel and all the other kids that you played traveling ball with. So when you got that call, how did you handle it?
So when I was a freshman, like I was still playing like JV minutes. I still played a half for JV because that's kind of like what you always did was you played some JV minutes to get you to speed because it's such a different speed than like middle school basketball. And so I remember like the first time like Joe Berg was like, all right, Karen, you're in. And I was like, who's in? Like I looked down the bench like, all right, Karen, you better go. And he was like, Kassie, Karen, go. And I was like, me? This one? And Woods like grabbed me by my collar and like threw me towards the scores table. And I was like, all right, I'm going in. And I remember like stepping foot on the floor and like I was scared out of my mind. And I just like remember getting the ball the first time and I was so scared to shoot. And Emma Mastery came up to me and goes, you better shoot the dang ball. And I was like, okay. And I like shot it. And I remember like my first make and it was the best thing. Just all my nerves went away and I was like playing basketball. And so
something tells me Emma probably used another word in that coaxing of yours, right?
Yes, definitely.
I think I know which one it is. But on that note, how would you describe or summarize the atmosphere of a Holy Angels practice session?
It's definitely, we have such an open communication with the coaches. Like if we aren't doing well in a drill, like they'll tell us and they will be like, you guys need to get it together. And so we'll talk as a team and be like, okay, we're going to do this better so we can get out of this drill and move on to the next thing. But it's also, we almost get to decide like what we need to work on too. and we can talk to the coaches, be like, oh, I think we need to work on our offense some more. I think we need to work on our defense some more. And so it's nice being able to like openly communicate with the coaches.
I feel like at times it can be like really serious and really like everyone can be like goofy at times. Like I remember like this one incident, like I was on the baseline and I saw like Rachel, Kassie, Frankie, and like the twins like all together. Like I don't know what they were doing. Like they were like hugging or something, or like they were like chasing each other around. I was just staring. I was like, oh, okay. Like the first year, like I was there, like I really did not know anyone except for Cherish. I like wasn't like as like I didn't really communicate as well to everyone, but yeah, just like seeing that kind of like made me like talk to people a little bit more. So yeah, I feel like we can be like really goofy at times, but like when we need to, like we can be serious, like so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like the best thing about our practice is as like the duality of it, where you can go from 1 minute being like, okay, we need to just focus and get this drill done because we need to do it, and then next minute you can be goofing around with your teammates and the coaches as well. And I think it's important to have that balance and to not always have it be super super serious. And I think that our practices, the way we run them and stuff, it works really well for our team.
When it comes to the sport of basketball, who are the players or personalities that you idolize? And you can go in any direction with this, college, pro, you name it. But who are the people you look up to when it comes to the sport of basketball?
I would have to say my older sisters, probably just because they got me playing basketball, and they always have like a work hard mentality, and so like they definitely gotten me to where I am today from like playing one on one with them and getting my butt absolutely demolished. Um, but yeah, so it's definitely like them that have pushed me, and they're my role models.
I really looked up to growing up. I watched a lot of Maya Moore and Lindsay Whalen and LeBron. So I really looked up to like their game, like LeBron's like physicality and like rebounding and stuff, because I'm not gonna lie, I can rebound. You know what I'm saying? I get that from LeBron. So and like Lindsay Whalen's like versatility and like kind of like being the point guard and like just like finishing, and like Maya Moore's like athleticism. I feel like I really get that from like her because like I said, I watched her growing up. So those like three players, I'd say.
Yeah, mine's a bit more like Cassie's. I'd say that like my oldest brother, he really like my whole entire life, he has been like always encouraging me to do more and to like be better. And I know I wouldn't be the player I am today if it weren't for him. And like Cassie was saying, we used to play one-on-one, and of course he's 4 inches taller than me. It's a bit unfair, but it really did help me.
Is that what led you to develop that mid-range jumper, Frankie, to compensate for his length?
Honestly, now that you mention it, it really might have, because I could never drive on him, couldn't do anything else. So really my only option was a mid-range shot. So who knows?
And Kassie and Frankie, the two of you can speak to this, but after you grew up and got your butts demolished, as Kassie put it, was there ever a point where you were able to turn the tide, or at least challenge them and make them feel like, oh, we're not the big sister, big brother anymore?
Oh, definitely. As soon as I hit my growth spurt, now I'm the tallest out of all my sisters, and so I have that upper hand on them, and I am a lot better at basketball than they are. So
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie, it definitely took me a while to even be able to like evenly match up with my older brother, but I'd say beginning of high school and stuff, that's when it kind of started being an even match. And now, like we'll play me and him, and then my twin brother will all play together. and it's, I've won quite a few times before, so.
Frankie, you mentioned your big brother, Sam, who scored 1,000 points at St. Thomas Academy. And then last year you got to that 1,000 point mark. And that's been part of a pretty solid run you've had where you have led Holy Angels in points and rebounds. How surprising or how
not a bad
gratifying is it to go from this point where you were coming off the bench and you mentioned being an introverted figure as an eighth grader, and now here you are, you've been leading the team the last couple of years?
Yeah, it was, I'm really grateful and blessed to have the opportunity to be in sort of a leadership position. And, it was definitely a big switch, but I'm glad that my teammates trust me enough to help our team out like that, and to sort of, rise to the occasion and stuff like that. And I don't think that would be possible without everyone else on my team. So it's definitely been a switch, but it can't all, it's not just me in it. It wouldn't be, I couldn't have been here without everyone else.
And Grace, in your first season coming off the bench, you averaged just over 11 points per game, and it was a debut season that would be up there. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, where you jump in and your first season of varsity, you make quite the impact. What did that mean for you as far as your skills, your development, to come in and contribute as much as you did?
Yeah, it was a really big jump from sitting out a whole season, then the next season just being with a team again. So it actually felt really good, because I feel I contributed not as much as I can, but the things I could to help get us to state and get in the habit of just finishing and getting to the rim and stuff. So it really helped a lot. I feel my teammates and my coach Woods, I feel they really helped a lot as well, because they helped me get in the rhythm and helped me with plays and everything. So all that I feel it really helped me was a set to I don't know, succeeding as well.
And Kassie, you did quite well in your sophomore season. Your coach told me that he considered you the X factor, and perhaps your biggest moment came when Frankie had to miss the road game at Fridley, and then you dropped 36. What was that like for you to go off like you did? And after word got out that you had your first 30-point game of your high school career, what did that do for your confidence and your development?
Well, it obviously boosted it. But this past season, I took on a different role. We didn't have a point guard. And so Woods, he was telling me the summer before, he was like, we need to figure out a point guard. And I was like, well, I can do it. And he goes, no, you're too tall. You're too slow. And so I really took that as a challenge, and I came in tryouts and I was like, I'm your point guard. And so it definitely, being the point guard is not really anything fancy. I mean, sure, you get to show off your ball handling skills, but you're not known for, dropping the 30 points like Frankie. No, but so definitely I had to figure out my own scoring options and figure out how to best showcase. And I really liked being the point guard because I got to make other people look good. And I'm that type of person that is I want you to look your best and I want you to succeed. And so when I finally got the chance to be I'm scoring, it was definitely weird at first, but then it was this is kind of fun, it's fun. And, but no, I definitely miss Frankie, that game. And so I'm glad she's back now, 100% healthy.
Okay, so there was no rivalry or any Kobe Shaq like feuds when Frankie came back because after dropping 36, you're like, oh, this is fun. And it's like, no, I don't want. I'm like, this is what Frankie must feel like every game, right?
No, I'm pretty sure she like walked up and like she shoved me and goes, that a kid? That a kid?
Frankie and Cassie, what are some moments that symbolize the friendship you two have developed? Because I think your birthdays are a day apart, different years, of course, but just one day apart on the calendar. And every time it rolls around, I see photos that include the two of you, including winning the section title and some other fun memories. What are some of those memories that you think symbolize the friendship you've built with Frankie going back to your time as third and fourth graders?
She's definitely like, people think she's scary, but actually once you get to know her, like she is like one of the nicest and funniest people you'll ever meet. She had the Barbie shoes in fourth grade, and I remember like walking, I had these cool Nikes, and she like walked up and goes, I like your shoes. And I was like, thanks. And so it's just like, she's one of those people you have to get to know, and you can't judge a book by its cover. And so like through all the jokes and all the laughs, she's definitely like one of my closest friends, and I know I can always count on her. And she definitely has been one of the reasons I'm such a good basketball player today. And between her and Rachel, they both have been bullied me. I remember my 8th grade year, they both were like, oh, why aren't you playing at Holy Angels? And I was like, oh, I got to play 1 year at BT left. And so they both were like, oh, well, your freshman year, we're going to bully the crap out of you. And I was like, okay. And it's funny because we're all the same height. None of us have like a height advantage. It's just which one's going to beat up the other one first. And my money's always on Rachel. So
no, yeah, like what Cassie was saying, I think that like over the years our relationship has really grown, and like now she said like we're closer than ever. And I am like really grateful for Cassie being on the team. And going back to like the previous question about scoring like 36 points, no matter, and I would hope this applies to everyone else, no matter who it is scoring points on the team, I don't think that it should be like a big factor. And I don't really, at least I personally don't really see, there's obviously like healthy and friendly competition, but I would never ever, get uptight if someone, like scored more than me or anything like that. And I think that applies to everyone else on the team as well. But yeah, like Cassie, oh my gosh, it's so crazy to like look back and be like, yeah, I knew you years and years ago, almost 10 years, and to see it now and to see how that's progressed, like I'm really thankful to get to know her.
So Cassie, I have to wonder, did you return the favor after Frankie dropped 40 in your game against Hermantown last March?
No, I didn't really get the chance because I mean, I definitely like shoved her and I was like, hey, that a kid, way to go. But I never got a chance to drop 40 the game after because they had to cut off our season because of COVID.
Well, that's what I was getting at. So you were able to, okay, do like, yeah, there you go, something like that. And on the bowling part of it, Cassie, I'm surprised if Rachel and Frankie try to gang up on you. Have you tried going like the Captain America route and work your way like that elevator fight scene and just muscle your way past those two if those two decide to come at you like that?
No, because so usually like it's more like Frankie and I are messing around, and then Rachel's like the mom of us and is like, hey, knock it off. And then she usually uses blunt force if we don't knock it off. And so yeah, I usually am the one getting pushed around.
So what you're telling me is that Rachel would be the favorite in some kind of brawl.
Oh, for sure.
And Grace, how would you say the Holy Angels team welcomed you into their fold as you got acquainted with the system, with the school, and got a chance to showcase your skills? How do you think that helped the team and helped the community welcome you into their ranks?
Um, like I said, I only knew like one person like coming in, which was Cherish, and she left sadly. But I think it was after the De La Salle game, I felt like I really had like a better connection with everyone. Everyone like people like started like talking to me more. I started like talking to others well, and I feel like that really put me in a good place. And I started to get more familiar with things, and I feel like people also had like more trust in me as well. So I feel like that, like after the De La Salle game, like after, like it was the second game that we lost against them again, when like Frankie went crazy again. Like I don't know how much he got, like almost, she had like a triple double or something. Um, I felt like they put like a lot of trust in me after that game, and yeah.
The De La Salle rivalry, that's something Cassie alluded to when I had her on with the volleyball team on Sunday. De La Salle, at least for the last several years, they've been your biggest rival. You two met at the state tournaments in 2019 with one of the most dramatic games of the tournaments, coming down to that last possession for the right to play in the championship. What is it about that rivalry that pumps up your team, pumps up their team? I know I got to cover it last year, and it was intense. It's a friendly, intense rivalry, but it's one of the big ones. What is it that makes it so special?
It's kind of weird because it wasn't until, like like 2016, stuff like that, there wasn't really a rivalry there. And then once it was like, oh, I think it is kind of like the thing in the state tournament where oftentimes like both the only Catholic schools there. So it's kind of like, there's that to take into account. And then also just being in the same conference, I think it naturally kind of pits you guys against each other. But personally, it's one of like my favorite, like I wouldn't want another team to be our rival just because I think playing them is really what pushes our team the most. They're one of definitely our more challenging opponents. And like you said, I don't think it's like a healthy sort of rivalry, and every single time we play them, it really gives players an opportunity to, show how well we work as a team and to even like show off individually.
Yeah, kind of like what Frankie said, and I feel like it also pushes us to be the best version of ourselves, because both of us like want to beat the other, and so we're all going to do our best for our own team, and so it always, that's who we practice for, is like the big competitions. And so every time we come into the gym, we want to get better and we want to win state. And so De La Salle is like one of the teams in our way. And so if we beat them, hey, that's a plus for us.
It's like a love-hate thing. Like there's a few players that I know, my teammates as well as I, like we have like a connection to. But playing them, it's like it's a really cool experience, and like we're always like ready like months before like they're on the schedule. Like Joburg, like the practices leading up to it, he's crazy. I remember one time we were messing around too much. He told everyone to get on the line. That's like the first time I heard him raise his voice. Told everyone to go on the line. He was like walking around like kind of mad and stuff. So that's how like I know like it's really serious for the coaches too when we play De La Salle. And I feel like it's a really fun rival, like especially like when it's like a really close game. And yeah.
Overall, what have you enjoyed most about coming together, getting to know each other through this sport? maybe you haven't won that state championship yet, but you've had an opportunity to get your name out there. You're in the rankings every year, so you're one of the schools that teams have to go through in order to come out on top. What would you make of this journey?
I think it's brought us all closer together, not just as like basketball players, but as friends and classmates off the floor. And so it's just like seeing each other in the hall, like we're not afraid to say hi, and you always like make a point to say hi to them. So I don't see either of these two anymore with our hybrid schedule, but like when I see like Lexi and Rachel, I'm always striking up a conversation like, oh, so when are we playing? When are we doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And so it's just, these guys are lifelong friends that I know I can always call back on if I'm having trouble in college or something. I can be like, hey, what are you up to? Do you remember this game? Blah, blah, blah. Do you remember Woods? Yeah. And so it's just, I'm excited to see what the future holds for us all.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Kassie there. Like, it's more than just a sports team, you know, like the people that are on this team, obviously we've known each other for years, and the bond that we formed, it's not just something that's gonna like easily break. And I think that's probably my favorite part of being on the team, just the, you know, how welcoming and like the sense of community that it has. But yeah, like I have met, like, I know, like one of my best friends ever. I really became close to her through basketball, and I think it provides a lot of opportunities to grow both as a player and as a person.
I'd have to say, like, the games that we all play together, like, I feel like it's a really cool experience, and it's given like each one of us like great exposure, like how Frankie was like on, like she had her own page like dedicated to her. I feel like it's given like each one of us exposure. It's a really cool experience that I never thought I would experience with like a team like this. So I feel like it was really cool, and the exposure that I created like the year that I played was something that I never imagined that I could do. So it was really cool.
Now, feel free to take this question in any direction you'd like, but throughout your basketball career, what would you say is the most exciting moment you've ever had and the most embarrassing moment?
Oh God, I can say my most embarrassing moment right off the bat. I'm gonna have to go with freshman year. No, 8th grade year. The very, very first varsity game that I ever played in my whole entire life. I airballed 2 free throws. So that's really stuck with me. That really, I hate thinking about it. And then I think like the best moment, you know, I think there's too many of them for me to like say. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have. Maybe like I think it was like last year, a few years before that, when it was like we finally beat De La Salle. That was very enjoyable. But besides that, I don't know. Can't think of much else.
My most embarrassing moment would probably be trying to take a charge on Mimi Wheeler and just like getting knocked like halfway across the country. Um and then probably like one of my best, so I have like 2 bests. One was with Coach Woods. It was the De La Salle game last year. I walked over to the bench. I was like, does anybody have water? And like everybody's like going to the Gatorade bottles and they were all empty. And like Woods just like tosses me his water bottle. He's like, here, drink it all, drink it all. And I was like, oh, okay. And so like that just goes back to our family thing. And I don't know, it just has stuck with me. But and then my other one would probably be scoring 20 points against Fergus Falls, the first state game last year. I feel like that just has helped me gain my confidence It's not like it came out of nowhere. Like I've known that I could always do that, but to be able to actually do it in a game is different. And so to show everybody that I could do that was definitely one of my best moments.
For me, I don't really have a recent embarrassing moment, but I just remember like it was kind of like open gym. Like I was, oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. I was guarding Cassie, and like I don't know what she did. Like she jabbed and like stepped back, and she took my ankles. Like I don't even. Yes, and then all like the boys, like the freshman boys were like, oh, I was like, whoa, like I was like so unsturdy. I was like, what? Because like I've never got my ankles like took in. So when she like stepped back, like I didn't like really fall, like I like wobbled and like I tried to like like defend it, and like it was like I was like wow, because like Cherish wouldn't stop bugging me after that. She was like, you got your ankles taken by Cassie, like I was like, it was so crazy. But best moment, I'd have to say my 8th grade year, actually 7th grade year in middle school. I made like the last shot against St. Lutheran, like this one school. Like I made the last shot, and it felt really good because like no one has beaten this team, and this is the team that we lost to like the previous year. So yeah, it felt really good to beat them for the first time.
So Cassie, after you crossed up Grace and broke her ankles, did you go back to Coach Woods and say, you think I'm too slow now?
I definitely was. He doesn't let me like live that down. Is like that's one of his biggest like things with me is he's like, oh, she's never like afraid to give up a challenge. And so he liked pushing me and he liked making fun of me, and that's just his way and how he coaches is he's going to like make the little jabs at you to try and get you motivated.
And going back to your moment, Cassie, it sounds like Frankie remembers this fondly. So what happened when you tried to set up that charge against Mimi Wheeler, and then it didn't go as planned, as you put it? What did your teammates have to say after she sent you halfway across the country?
I was playing help defense and Rachel was guarding her, and she like got around Rachel, and like Rachel was like, oh, help. So I stepped in and I just like stood and I was like, yikes. And she just boom, smashed into me. I slid. Frankie came running up to me and goes, dude, you got your stuff rocked. So you can probably imply the actual words she said, but
Really?
But yeah, and so it's definitely like we're not afraid to joke with each other on the floor, especially with moments like that.
I picked up on it, and I also see you also make sure you don't get a moment where Captain America would jump in and say, language. Frankie, there was one moment I wanted to get your take on it because I had Rachel Kowicki on in the spring, and she spoke of this. You probably know which moment I'm talking about. It was one of my favorites where she was going on the fast break in transition. The ball got knocked loose, and she just tumbled for it, somehow got the ball, somersaults her way on the floor, finds a way to get it off to you, and you score. And Rachel told me you gave her this look of, did that just happen? Or something like that. But you were able to turn that play to points. What do you remember? Because to me, that was one of my favorite moments of the season, to watch somebody dive on the floor and get a tumbling assist.
Yeah, I think that play in particular is just like, it's such a great indicator of who Rachel is as a player. She's never afraid to get down on the floor, and she's really scrappy, and she's never like, when the play's dead, that's when it's dead. If they haven't blown the whistle yet, then she's still gonna go after the ball. And I think, yeah, that was just crazy. I definitely did give her a look of like, did that just happen? Because like, did it? But yeah, like that's just a great testament to who she is as a player. And I don't think if it had been like anyone else that we could have gotten that off.
Well, and to your credit, you knew exactly what to do with it. You didn't hesitate or go, wait, what? I've got the ball. You just put it in and like, all right.
Yeah, that was just kind of like, I have it, I'm close, let's just shoot it if I'm open. But it was more like there's little moments like that where I think I know I'd play better when I'm not like really thinking about things as much. And I think that was just one of the things where it's kind of like automatic, you see an opportunity and you take it.
And then in that same game, another one of my favorite moments came in the post-game interview.
Oh.
Cassie, well, do you remember this? Well, maybe not, but I like to have a little fun with the athletes as I've gotten to know more about you and everyone else through my chats with the coaches, the parents, or the breakdown book. And so when I dropped that note about you playing guitar and piano, the look on your face, well, actually both of your faces, Cassie lit up and you're going, wait, what?
Oh yeah, no, I think that was just because I was like, how do you know that? But I remember I wrote it down for, I think it was Breakdown magazine. So yeah, I was just like surprised because it's not something that I usually like talk about.
Well, and off of that point, you have guitar and piano skills. We haven't seen them in action yet, but you noted some of the artists you embody. And then this summer, I understand you took up skateboarding. And so, Frankie, I'm like, you're developing quite this alter ego if you wanted to go that direction. Guitar, piano, skateboarding. I mean, you have all the ingredients of an album cover, the way I see it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who knows where the future is going to take me? Maybe I'll be like next Mick Jagger or something. You never know.
And all the parents watching this are now impressed or don't feel that old when you drop a Rolling Stones reference or Mick Jagger. But Cassie, how is that guitar piano instruction? How is that working out?
She hasn't even taught me anything. So I'm convinced she doesn't know how to play it.
Cassie, baby, come on!
What model is that?
This is a Fender. Or no, not a Fender. It's an Ibanez. But I've had this is like the very first guitar I ever got. And I've had it for like 8-9 years. So I will teach you. Don't slander me like that.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. Maybe if we do have games this season, we should find a way to get you to perform the Star Spangled Banner on guitar or piano, or find some way to maybe you compose the pregame warm-up music. I don't know, but I still think that's cool.
I don't think it'd be good if I composed the pregame warm-up. It wouldn't really be a pregame mix.
Well, what would you have? I guess I'm like, because pregame mix to me can be anything, but what would be in your pregame list?
I don't really listen to like a lot of rap music, but I definitely have like, I'm very big on classic rock. That's like, if I had to do a genre for pregame, don't look at me like that. It would be like a mix of, a bit of like, yeah, definitely some rap music though, and like classic rock. And that'd probably be it. No country music. That is off limits.
When Rachel be playing that, oh my god. Oh my god.
Have you heard of the sort of the nickname or the moniker I've given Rachel after I learned of her fondness for country music?
No, what is it?
Well, I said because of her Hickchell alter ego on Instagram, I've called her the inverse of Chris Gaines. And Chris Gaines was the alter ego of Garth Brooks. It was, I think, more of a rock persona that he tried and it didn't work. But because Rachel is embodying this country persona, I'm like, yeah, she might be the inverse of Chris Gaines.
You wonder who always listens to country music with her, and you gotta point the finger at me. So when we were younger, we were always... That's just how I was raised, guys. I'm sorry. My mom always listened to country music, and my dad grew up on a farm, so...
On a related note, Cassie, Frankie was showing off one of her first possessions when it comes to music. I understand that one of your prized possessions is a record player.
How'd you find that out? Because I did not write that in the breakdown book.
No, you didn't write that, but there are some sources that are close to me who might have dropped a nugget or two about it.
Yeah, so I actually have recently gotten into records, and so I bought a record player. And whenever I'm listening to homework and stuff, I put on a classical record. But I also have a Star Wars record and some Kenny Rogers, and I have Bryan Adams, and I have the Top Gun soundtrack, West Side Story, Rocky 3. It's great.
Grace, what would you say is your prized possession? I don't want to leave you out of this after Frankie showed off her guitar and now Kassie has divulged some of her record collection. What are some of your prized possessions?
But like, what? First off, like, do you guys remember like during the section game when they were playing Star Wars music and I was getting so mad?
Yes!
I was getting so mad. I was left to right. I was getting so mad. Like, I was so tempted to like put in my AirPods, but oh my gosh. But prized possession, I would have to say my shoes. I have like a lot of like Air Maxes, different like custom like Vans and stuff. Like, I really say like my shoes are like my prized possession because like I put like a lot of time and effort to like get them to look a certain way and stuff. But yeah, other than that, my skateboard. I really love my skateboard that I just got.
Heard you, Grace.
Gator boys.
What do you have against Star Wars music? That's what I want to know.
I don't have anything against it, but like who like shoots the basketball and like has Star Wars music playing in the background? That does not sound right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's with country music. Who's out there like trying to get hyped up for the game? You just hear some dude strumming on a banjo.
Exactly. Yeah.
A banjo, really?
Well, I don't know.
But like for basketball, like I usually like I have like a lot of Uzi, Lil Baby on it, and other than rap, I would have to say I'm not gonna lie, I listen to the only like country song I can listen to is what's that one song? It was
Sing it.
It'll be.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that song. That's like the only like country song I could listen to though. But yeah, that's what I have on my playlist when I play basketball.
Someone put out there what like my walk-up music would be for a sporting event, baseball or some other sport, and I said my first choice would be White and Nerdy from Weird Al because that's me. I don't take anything seriously, including myself, as you've probably seen in my broadcasts. I'm not afraid to mock myself in the middle of them, but to me, like Star Wars music would be uplifting or something. Like I thought it would get you in the mood, but apparently not.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of soundtracks.
It was what?
It was like a bunch of soundtracks. Like it almost put me to sleep. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was. I think it was at Chan. It was like
really bad. It was a final section game.
Yeah, I remember that. Like even me, I love Star Wars to death, but they were just playing some boring music, and I was like, "What is this?"
It was like instrumentals. It wasn't like it didn't have any words. Just like all instrumentals.
It just did not fit. It did not fit what was going on.
Yeah.
Still, though, I feel like we've got the makings of a cover band here. Kassie, with your record collection going, it sounds like you have an affinity for soundtrack music. And Kenny Loggins, who has synonymous with soundtrack music, Caddyshack, Top Gun, I think are the most recognized there. But I'm going, man, you and Frankie go all over the place. I think it's fun and it's a reminder because you probably hear the tropes about how the younger generation doesn't have any knowledge or respect for the classics, so to speak. You probably have heard that trope more than once, and I'm going, no, they're really it's like, no, they really are aware of some of these.
Yeah.
I mean, you make me feel old when I go, it's like, yeah, I remember when they were new, but I really think you two have something, and Grace, I'm sure you could find a way to fit in too. I'm like, you have the makings of a cover band here.
I can
Grace
like
can play
be the singer.
drums.
Or anything. I can like be the singer.
Okay, good. I can't sing.
Y'all heard
Okay.
my singing skills when I was singing It Was Meant to Be? I can sing.
There was another thing, now that you've reminded me in this conversation, that speaks of the friendship. I remember, Kassie, as you noted in the Breakdown magazine, and as I've gotten to know with your family, not only big Star Wars fans, but big superhero Marvel fans. Your dad said it's pretty much a requirement at your household that you'll get sucked into the pop culture fandom like that. But when you mentioned that one of your favorites is Captain America, I remember Frankie quipping, "Of course you would say that," or something along those lines. And I'm going, what is that supposed to mean? Like, what do you have against Captain America? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely like my innocence almost. Like I definitely like I'm not the one to start swearing, and you can obviously just tell from like our talks like right here. But I feel like I just and I'm also kind of like that innocent like type leader almost, and I'm going to welcome you in and take care of you and protect you from Frankie.
No, Captain, that just surprised me because it was like, I just feel like he's such an obvious choice. Like, come on, really? Like, let's be a bit more creative. But he's a good choice. Like, I don't have anything against him, you know? He's got his shield, he's got super strength, you know, he's got it all. But I'm not a Captain America kind of gal.
I think
For
you
me,
remember
I don't really watch as much like Marvel. I'm like more into like DC, like The Flash and like Black Lightning and like Supergirl, like those shows. Honestly,
Those are good shows. I'm rewatching
Black
Arrow.
Lightning's where it's at.
which one?
Arrow.
Black Lightning.
Black Lightning. That show slaps.
So as we get close to wrapping this up, because I know you do have lives, believe it or not, and I want to make sure you get to that. But if it were to be a cover band or something like that, what tracks, what songs could you see yourselves playing between your musical tastes?
Oh man.
Star Wars.
Probably, Meant to Be by Florida Georgia Line. We gotta get that one in there. I would definitely be all for singing Faucet Failure. Just saying.
Are you serious?
I love that song.
I'm down. Grace?
Wait, I can't like Frankie. Like your face is like some type.
There she is.
Okay. I see it.
Oh,
Frankie
my
almost crossed
bad.
herself. Frankie, you almost broke your own ankles.
A weird position. I was just looking at you the whole time. Yeah, I could like agree to like a few country songs.
I got you guys.
A few country songs.
But you gotta do those ones that are like, is this country or is this like pop music? Because
Yeah,
those, that's,
like that
you know,
stuff.
that's where it's at.
For you, Kassie and Grace, I know you've talked about hoping that you'll get the chance to play, and I think everyone in sports, myself included, has had a difficult time trying to get through this, wondering when we'll be able to return to normal, what that would look like, and trying to make use of this time. What has this situation, what has this taught you about patience and resilience, things like that?
Well, it's definitely taught me to take advantage of like things I have and not look at things I don't have. And to be happy with the opportunities I've been given, and to make sure I make the most of every moment that I'm given.
It's really like taught me to not really take it as a bad thing, but use it as a time to like make yourself better and just like be like a different person from like the previous year. It's made me like look forward to AAU a lot more because I know that if we don't have a high school season, like AAU is like the thing that will like bring like more exposure because high school does it already, but AAU, like I feel like it brings a little bit more. So I've been looking forward to that and like just getting myself better for like and ready for whenever like the time comes for us to play.
Again, I know you mentioned your juniors, so you still have a ways to go, but do you have any thoughts on what you might like to do collegiately or elsewhere?
Yeah, like I mentioned in the volleyball one, I'm looking at going out of state and looking at being pre-vet or sports management. And then I really want to play basketball in college, but I wouldn't be opposed to playing volleyball in college.
Cassie's feeling it.
For me, my goal is to play college basketball at like a high level. I don't really care where I go. Like if I stay here, it's fine, but I like my choice is to play somewhere outside of the state and yeah. Minnesota's nice, but yeah, somewhere like kind of like sunny would be nice.
Yeah, well, for me, basketball, it's more about the most important thing is like academics when it comes to college, just because like looking big picture. And like there's some things in the works, and there's nothing solidified yet, so we'll see. But I've been talking to like one college I'm very interested in playing at. But yeah, I think it's really dependent on where I see my life going and the interests that I kind of want to pursue in college.
Have you fielded or looked at any interests, or are you still surveying the field?
Yeah, I've got like I'm talking to still like a few colleges right now, so I've definitely narrowed it down to specific places that I'm looking at going, and now it's just kind of looking at other aspects like scholarships and like what kind of academic programs they offer.
Fair enough. And I guess I was trying to gauge like what topics or majors, because it sounded like you're still trying to narrow down that field as well, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm really in between. I've narrowed it down to like I'm either probably going to major in political science or economics, and then I maybe depending on what I choose as my major or in economics, but that's what I'm looking at right now, but nothing is set in stone.
If there's anything else you'd like to leave us with as we've been sharing stories and as we've learned, I know I've learned a lot about you, and I think the rest of our audience has too.
I don't know, maybe I'll leave him with like a fun fact. I have a twin brother.
Everybody knows that.
Okay, well then
Can't say
I don't know if there's any younger like girls watching that play basketball, I'd say that things like that, they take time to really advance your skill level, and if you're really passionate about it, never give up on that. And if you work hard, there will always be opportunities that present themselves.
What I've learned through this experience is to be patient and take advantage of the opportunities I give, and also be on the lookout for me, Grace's, and Frankie's album.
I would have to say just like if we do have a season, like I feel like this season, like out of like like any like other team that I played, I feel like this season would be like our like golden season if we do have one. We have like two like three actually, including Becky, like three like seniors that will like put us in a great position, me and Cassie. So if we do have one, I'm like really looking forward to it because I feel like this could be our year and stuff. But just, like a fun fact, I guess, I'm the middle child. I don't know.
Not the middle.
It's tough. It's so tough. Cassie, are you the
It is.
middle?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
How did I know that? What the heck?
I'm the oldest, so I don't know how you picked up on that, Grace. Maybe it's vibes or maybe it's the midi-chlorians. I have no idea, but apparently your ESP is working.
Mm-hmm. It's that middle child, instinct. Me and Cassie.
You know when there's another one.
Well, this was a lot of fun. I am curious if you do get a cover band or who else would join you or what songs you would end up covering, because I think the three of you have certainly varying tastes, but it all comes together as we've seen on the basketball floor. And Frankie, I know we talked a lot about your mid-range game, but you can hit some threes too. So are we going to see a mix of that if you get to play, or what should we expect out of you? More mid-range, more threes, or are you going to try to take a page out of Cassie's book and go 10 feet behind the three-point line?
I don't think I will honestly ever have the range that Cassie has when it comes to three-pointers. But I think what you can expect is I'm looking a lot more to expand my game. So obviously my mid-range is always going to be a pivotal part of my game, but I'm more looking to get better at drawing contact, driving opportunities is what I think I'll be focused on.
Cassie, what about you? Are you going to develop a mid-range game to try to cross up your opponents? Because we know you can shoot the three now, so I'm thinking you might want to mix it up and keep them guessing.
Cassie, just marry the three-point line, like the half-court line, and never break up with it.
11 years ago.
Yeah, I definitely have to start driving a little more. I'm pulling up.
And we're going the other way.
But no, the three-pointer will always be my husband. So.
It's like.
So, Cassie, you'll take care of the threes. Grace, you'll handle the post, the rebounds, or are we going to see some three-pointers out of you now?
The rebounds most definitely. Cause we really need a rebounder, I'd say. But I'm really working on my mid-range game and my ball handling a little bit more. I feel like if I have those two, I feel like the rebounding will do its thing. But if I really have those things, those two things, I feel like I'd be better off.
Well, Frankie had 12 double-doubles last season, so if you needed a couple of pointers, you've got somebody within your ranks to help grab those boards. But this was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs, more than I bargained for, but it does speak to the camaraderie, the friendship that you have all developed with each other. And I think we've come to some consensus that Star Wars music before a game, or depending on what type it is, maybe doesn't set the mood, because I'm there are some triumphant and energetic themes, but if you ever get a chance to create one, I would be curious to see what will be on that pregame list. So hopefully we'll get a chance to find out this winter, but I just want to thank all of you for taking some time to share your stories, share some laughs, and just highlight that we all are more than just basketball players and basketball fans. There are a lot of different avenues about us. Personally, I'm excited for that cover band that you're going to put together. So let me know when you drop that album.
We'll put out a release date and everything. You'll be in the loop. Don't worry.
Well, once again, Grace Massaquoi, Frankie Vascellaro, Kassie Caron, thanks for coming on. Hopefully we'll have a season, but if not, I'm sure we'll find a way to cross paths again. But I always enjoy going to Holy Angels games because I know there will never be a lack of stories between your coach and between the players that I've gotten to know over the years. And you really embody that team dynamic, that team bonding. I see it a lot with the athletes that I've interviewed, but at Holy Angels, I know it's genuine. Like there's no faking it. You truly are a collective, and it's great to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for having us on.
Yeah, I'm glad you could take some time to do this, and best of luck to you. Hopefully we can get back out there soon, but until then, stay safe because I want to make sure you're all healthy when we can play again.
For sure.
So hopefully you'll be able to see them in action this winter at Holy Angels as they try to build off of another state tournament run last year. We'll see what happens. And if you want to be a guest on a future episode of this podcast series, just hit us up on social media at the Mike Peden on Twitter or Instagram. All you need is a story and we'd be happy to share it. So until next time, thanks for watching.